Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's Days of Our Lives, September 15, 2025. So we start off with Stephanie and Alex, right? So Alex is a whole mess at this point because he's looking for something to help him with the press conference today for the novel. So Stephanie comes over with the briefcase. I guess that's what he's missing. And she could tell that he's on edge because he wants to be prepared for this conference. And, he's surprised that she's still there at home because she said that she had a busy day ahead. And she said that, yes, she still does have that because he was trying to ask if she would still make an appearance. She doesn't have to come as the author herself, but just make an appearance. So she says she still has to go over to the hospital and help out EJ, I guess. So he said to her that it's just been crazy these past couple of days. And then she could tell because he has left like a one pair, I guess one sock or a razor, stuff over her house basically. So she said, it's okay, it's no big deal. So he said, let's solve that. Why don't you move in with me? So she said, I have reservations. I mean, it didn't work out with me when, me and Chad moved in and, the relationship kind of soured after that. So I'm kind of hesitant about that. I don't want that to happen to us. And he said, that's not going to happen. He assured her. So he says she also is not liking how he keeps his house. It's really dirty and all that. So he said that he can work on that. So she said, even though that's solvable, she still is, hesitant about moving in together, and she doesn't think it might work out well. So he's assuring her that, look, I'm serious about you. I miss you when you're not here. I want us to take it to another level. So she definitely feels the same kind of way. And she said let her think about it. She have to also talk to Jada about actually find another roommate and all of that, so they have more discussion to talk about, right? So anyways, Kate talks with Ari for a bit. She sees her studying, so she asks her how the college experience is going. So she said it's the usual, like high school, but I guess a different level up. It's nothing to it. But she also wants to do some outside of that, to get into the world of business, do an internship. So she said, what about working for Gabby Chic? So she said she loves her mother, but she doesn't really want to get enthralled into that type of business. So Kate also thought about, I guess, the publishing part of Titan the Mirror, maybe finding her something to do there. So she would be grateful for the opportunity, but she said, okay, send me a copy of your resume and I'll send it to EHR and let you know what's going on, right? She also said to her that, the press conference is today. And she told her great grandmother that, look, I read the book. It was very, enticing. She doesn't want to hear that because who really wants to hear their grandchild talking about something scandalous like that, right? So anyway, she leaves on that note with Ari, right? So coming back from Friday's episode with Tate and Sophia and, them holding hands and he's saying that, he's there for her and he just wants to know the truth. Holly walks in and Holly's like, what's going on here? So Sophia panics and walks away and, Tate is really angry that that happened and he's like, damn it, Holly, like you caused this to happen. And she's confused because she's saying like, what? Like, I didn't know what happened to you. I was worried about you. You didn't show up for class. So you didn't answer my text messages, so I was looking for you. How is this my fault? So he said Sophia was in the middle of possibly telling me who the adopted parents are, where I could find my baby. So she said, I'm sorry that I messed it up for you. Excuse me for being a concerned girlfriend. So of course, Tate was being a very belligerent ass in this scene because she was definitely worried about him, and all he could have sat there and moan and complain about is that, okay, Sophia went away, couldn't find the adopted parents, blah, blah, blah. And I'm saying, don't you ever think of Holly's feelings in this as well? Like, it's a lot for her to take in. And she was just generally concerned about your whereabouts. And then, Rachel, what happened to Rachel also leaving school, like she was just worried about him. He doesn't say it that way. He's saying that, look, he's concerned about where the baby could be. I need a chance to meet my baby. And Holly's saying that, look, you gotta maybe give this a rest. You're getting really obsessed about this. And of course, that triggered Tate because he doesn't feel like he's being obsessed. He just wants to know that he made the right decision and she's somewhere safe. And Holly's just saying this is just getting too much. And Sophia's just using this to get closer to you. And this might drive a wedge between us. And he's being delusional. He's saying that Sophia doesn't want any part of me and I'm only interested in you at the end of the day. And, she doesn't feel that way. She feels as if Sophia will use anything to get closer to Tay, right? And she's just telling him that, this is the intention that Sophia is doing. He doesn't want to hear it and he's getting upset because he doesn't think that Holly understands his need to find this baby. Like, she's telling him to get over it. And he said, no, I can't. On that note, I can understand that one part where, she's telling him to get over it. You can't break that kind of bond, right? Like, when you have a child, you can't just simply get over it, right? I understand that part where Tate was coming from, but he didn't have to be so mean and harsh towards Holly at the same time, too. So I guess they're both at fault for how they dealt with the conversation, and then, Sophia's in the middle of it as well. So Sophia ends up going to talk to Ari because, again, she wants somebody to vent to. She wants some caffeine because she's going through a lot. So Ari's like, what's going on? So she said, Tate can't stop being obsessed about this adoption thing and the baby. He's asking me all these questions about who's the adopted parents. And I told him to just let it rest. He's becoming too obsessed with it. And, Ari says, she understands where she's coming from, but also the same at the same point, like, she's also thinking he's not the only one that's obsessed. It's also her that's obsessed with getting back together with Tate and, driving a wedge between Holly and Tate. And she's telling her that, look, Holly and Tate are a package item. They're not going nowhere. So you just got to move on and move forward. So Holly says that, Sophia says that, look, it's not me. It's actually Tate. He can't seem to stop coming towards me. And I'm saying, girl, it's not for that reason, right? He actually is, coming towards you for information on you guys' baby. Ari also says that she's tired of being in the middle between Holly and Ari because both of them are her friends and she just doesn't want to be caught in the middle. She's not going to pick a side. So Sophia apologizes for that and she didn't mean to really cause that intention. Of course, Ari understands her predicament and that it's a lot going on. So outside of the pub, she runs back into Tate again. And Tate is saying, I'm sorry about earlier with Holly. And she said, is Holly okay? You really care, Sophia. You don't really care that much about Holly. So why are you asking how she's doing? So anyway, he said she was just acting jealous and all that. So he remembers the conversation with Holly about Sophia trying to get back with him and doing anything she can for that matter, right? So Tate uses that to his advantage and said that, he has a class that he has to study for that they both are in. Aaron is not in the room, so he invites her over to his dorm for later. So she said, okay, sure, we can do that. So I guess he's trying to use that to his advantage so that he can find out more about his child. So it's Victoria's birthday party finally, and Sarah and Maggie are talking because it's also the anniversary of Victor's death. It's a hard day for her, but she also wants to show up for her granddaughter. So they talk about how Sarah's feeling and how she must feel that Xander's coming over, and she says she's doing it for their daughter. And she knows how he can get at times, hopefully doesn't really create a scene. So Maggie said, look, like if Xander creates a scene, I'll kick him out myself. So while that's happening, Xander walks in on that with many gifts. And, of course, it's a little bit awkward, but, they're happy that he's here with all gifts and all that. Philip also comes, and of course they're surprised to see Philip because, again, the last time they saw them together, they're always trying to fight each other. So Sarah's like, what's your reason for being here? Not that we don't want you here, but why are you here? So he says to them that, look, me and Xander decided to put away our differences for the sake of the company, and Xander said that he's making him legitimately his co-CEO. And, in case this fraud comes out, at least, they will have that as the backup plan, right? They will be solidified. So Maggie's happy to hear that, especially with Victor and him, wanting this company to be a legacy for his children and grandchildren. She's happy about that, right? Sarah as well, but she's skeptical because of the reasoning behind it, right? So they're opening gifts for Victoria, and Xander gave her a Scottish horse, and Philip gave her a nice book that was passed down, I guess generations. He read it, Sarah read it. So at some point, Xander helps Maggie to put the baby upstairs to sleep, and Sarah and Philip are talking. So she asked him about how, now that he's going to be legitimate, there's nothing holding him back from actually telling the truth about who assaulted him, and that it was Xander, right? So he said, no, like I told you before, and the police, he was not the one who did it, right? I told you it was a random person. And she's like, come on, you don't have to be doing that. So he's like, look, Xander has turned a new leaf. He actually saved me from choking on some jelly beans. He has turned a new page. So again, Sarah's surprised to hear this, and Xander's overhearing the conversation in the back as well. So the conference is in full swing, and Stephanie actually made an appearance, not as the author, but she was there to just walk Alex over, unbeknownst to Kate. So she says she still has to go to the hospital. So they're talking about pushing up the release date for, I guess, October for the new novel. So she didn't know anything about it because Alex didn't get a chance to tell her. So Kate has to tell her shareholders something because, they are waiting on the next installment, right? So she said, all right, I will try to get something to you. So they're looking for the cameraman. Johnny's nowhere to be found because, again, he has another double job. He has a job that he's doing at the university, right? So he's pulling double jobs. So now Alex is thinking about an intern, and, Kate thought about it as well and said that she has somebody in mind, but right now they need somebody to, be behind the camera. So they asked Stephanie she could, volunteer. I mean, it is her work at the end of the day. So she was hesitant at first because she has the hospital to commit to. So, Alex tried to, convey to her that, okay, you can actually see everybody enjoying your book and da 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 da. So she said, okay, I'll do it. So she was behind the camera filming them, and, Kate was talking about how the book was, producing rave reviews and that there's another one coming in fall. And she thanks the crowd and all that. Alex also talks about it as well. So Kate goes back to the office, and then at the end of this hall, Tony makes a grand appearance talking about how, this is so nice to see, a company supporting, local business. And he's all about that, right? So that's where it cut off because, again, he has a revelation to make. So we know it's all about the Titan Mirror merger and it crashing and burning. So I guess we have to stay tuned to what's going to happen tomorrow. But don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. Comment below your thoughts on today's episode. I will see you guys tomorrow.